Welcome to FSEA Showcase. I am Bryer, and in this video we're going to do another episode of Favorite Song Each Album, where I go through a band's entire discography and name my favorite song, and as a bonus I give an honorable mention. Now, as you can see behind me, we are doing Rush, so this is kind of a continuation of when I did the Rush ranking. If you have not seen it, please go ahead and have a watch after you're done with this one. I'll leave a link in the description. So there's 19 albums, so without further ado, I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. So of course we are starting with the debut from 1974. My favorite song on here is probably not going to be a shock to most people, so obviously my favorite song is the last song, which is Working Man. What a great ending. Just the guitar by Alex Lifeson is incredible, and Geddy's vocals are just really suiting. And like I said in the ranking video, John Rutsey is a solid drummer. So for my honorable mention, I'm kind of ironically, we're actually going to go back to the beginning and talk about Finding My Way. Which is a great opening track. I mean, from the get-go, this band was set for some greatness. And again, Alex's guitar work just really sets the stage, and even Geddy's bass, you can hear it clear. So yeah, those are my two songs from the debut. Moving on to the second album, we have Fly By Night, the first album to feature Neil Peart. So my favorite song on here is going to be the first song, Anthem. Right off the bat, Neil really makes a presence on here, and Geddy's vocals are just a big standout on that song, so I love it. So for my honorable mention, again, not going to be too shocking. Of course, I'm going to go with Baito and the Snow Dog. That song is kind of their first taste into more longer songs. They're really starting to go in that more progressive rock sound, and of course they would perfect that later on down the line, which we'll get to. But yeah, for a first kind of small attempt at it, they do a really solid job. A lot of great transitions, a lot of great, again, the guitar work. I'm going to be saying that a lot because a lot of these early albums, Alex Lifeson is very dominant on here. So yep, those are my two songs from Fly By Night. So now we're getting to the black sheep of the 70s. We have Caress of Steel, released the same year as Fly By Night. My favorite song is, once again, the first song, and that's Bastille Day. I just love the dynamics on here. It's like it starts off very hard rocking, but then during the chorus it kind of slows down a bit, and it's a very catchy chorus, and it's a very, very solid start. Now my honorable mention, that was kind of tough because it was really between the two epics. So we have the Necromancer and the Fountain of Lamneth. So I could have gone with either or, but I'm going to go with the Fountain of Lamneth. With that being said, I still love the Necromancer, but the Fountain of Lamneth has something that I feel they would truly perfect on the next album. But as a kind of like the, I would say like the, what's the word, predecessor of what they would do next, I think that's a very cool song. So those are my two songs, Bastille Day and the Fountain of Lamneth. But now we get to the big one, and that of course is 2112, released in 1976. And again, not a shock to anybody. Of course, the title track is my favorite song. I mean, what else can be said? I mean, all the great parts, all the great sections are absolutely spectacular. Like especially the overture, which has especially that one part which has probably my favorite like guess riff melody from them. It's a cool story, great concept, so no shock. Of course, that's my favorite song on here. So for my honorable mention, I'm gonna be a little bit, I'm not sure if this is gonna be like left field or anything, but I'm gonna go with the Twilight Zone.
You have entered the twilight zone. Beyond this world, strange things.
I mean, really, the only reason that's my honorable mention is because I'm a big fan of the Twilight Zone. It's one of my favorite shows ever, and the fact that they made a song about it, I mean, that already went up my list. So those are my two songs from 2112. But now we're moving on to A Farewell to Kings, and my favorite song is Xanadu. It's just a very slow build. Like, it has a very atmospheric tone to it, but once it starts, it really starts. It's absolutely spectacular. I love it. And for my honorable mention, I'm gonna go with Cinderella Man. Very heavy song. One of the heavier songs by them. It's absolutely spectacular. Again, Alex just really is such an underrated guitar player. Really doesn't get enough attention. I know it's kind of tough when you have Geddy Lee and Neil Peart in your band, but Alex really shines on these 70s albums. So those are my two songs, Xanadu and Cinderella Man. So now we move on to my second favorite Rush album, and that's Hemispheres. Favorite song on here is going to be shocking because, again, I'm going to go with an instrumental, and that's, of course, the final song, La Via Strangiato. For an instrumental track, that's really saying something, at least coming from me. I just love the different sections in that. Some great melodies in it. So yeah, that's going to be my top pick. And for my honorable mention, I went with Circumstances, another pretty heavy song by them. Really going to that almost progressive metal sound. Of course, Rush is kind of credited as a pioneer of progressive metal, so I don't doubt that. So yeah, great album. So those are my two songs from here. But now we finally move on to the 80s, which with Permanent Waves. Favorite song on here is the first song, yet again, with The Spirit of Radio. I mean, come on, that opening guitar riff, just absolutely iconic. And it's just a very catchy song, and it's kind of cool that they kind of switch up into almost like a reggae vibe in the middle of it, which is pretty cool. So yep, those are my two songs. Sorry, that's my favorite song, but my honorable mention, I almost went ahead here to the next one, but my honorable mention is going to be Natural Science.
Wheels within wheels in a spiral array, a pattern so grand and complex.
Even though by this point they were kind of done doing those very long epic songs, they still occasionally had at least one long song on here on their albums. But Natural Science is definitely a great standout. Even though they're kind of in a new decade, they really show that they still have some creative juice in them. And so yeah, Permanent Waves, great album. Those are my two songs there. But now we finally get to still my favorite Rush album, and that's Moving Pictures. Favorite song, I'm gonna go with Limelight. I love that song. I think out of all the songs on here, that's actually the song I play the most. Yes, even more than Tom Sawyer. But Limelight, just a really great song. I love the lyrics to it as well. Neil talking about like stardom, how he feels about it. Very, very great stuff. And for my honorable mention, again, I'm gonna go with a deep cut. I'm gonna go with the final song, which is Vital Signs. Again, it's has a weird, it's almost eerie in a sense, but it's in a cool way. Again, has a reggae influence to it, which sounds great. So yeah, Again, Moving Pictures, fantastic album. So I definitely recommend this if you're just starting out with Rush. So Moving Pictures. Okay, so now they're following up. We're going to Signals. Favorite song? Again, probably not going to be a big shock to most, but I'm going with Subdivisions. Of all the Rush songs, that's kind of the song I relate to the most. Just, you know, being an outcast to society. You have to be conformed in order to be considered cool. But yeah, just Neil's lyrics on that song is just very personal to me. So that's my favorite song. And my honorable mention, I'm going to go with The Weapon.
He's not afraid of your judgment. He knows a quarter's gonna stand your hand. He's a little bit afraid of dying.
That's a great song, and I just love the chorus to it. It's, again, very great melody, so great stuff. Signals, very strong album. Okay, now we're getting deep into the 80s. Now we're on 1988. Actually, I'm out of order. I almost picked out the wrong album. We're on Grace Under Pressure now, so we're in 1984. Favorite song, I'm going to be going with The Enemy Within.
I'm not giving in to security under pressure. I'm not missing out on the promise of adventure.
Again, the lyrics I really relate to. You know, we always have those inner demons within us, but it's really up to us to overcome them. So that's such a fantastic song, and I love during the chorus, once it's finally done, Geddy goes on the keyboards and he plays a gorgeous little, I don't know what you would call it, but it's a great keyboard sound, and yeah, I love that song. And for my honorable mention, I'm going to be going with Afterimage. It's just a very pleasant song. It has a great vibe to it, and I just love to listen to it. So I know that's not a very good explanation, or a good explanation, but I don't care. I enjoy it. So those are my two picks from here. So now we're finally in the mid 80s, and now we're heading into Power Windows. Again, very good album. So my favorite song on here is going to be Grand Design. And I know a lot of Rush fans don't like the heavy use of the keyboards and the synthesizers, but I don't care. It sounds great. I love how the way they use the keyboards on here. It just adds some more textures, some more great melody lines they have here. And Grand Designs definitely has that. It's just such a great song. And then for my honorable mention, I'm going to go with the next song, which is Manhattan Project. Overall, Power Windows, again, in my top 10. Alright, and then not finally, but now we get to Hold Your Fire, the invisible touch of the Rush catalog. But with that being said, I still enjoy this album. My favorite song, I'm going to be going with Prime Mover.
Rational, responsive, force a change of plans.
I know I sound like a broken record, but again, with Neil's lyrics, it's just something I relate to. I mean, talking about, just going on a journey, not caring about the destination, but just enjoying yourself, and wherever you end up, it doesn't really matter because it's all about the journey that you take. So yeah, I love that song, and it sounds incredible. And my honorable mention is going to be going with kind of the big hit on here, which is Time Stands Still. It may be a pop tune, and it probably has one of the worst music videos of the 80s ever, but it's still a great song. I love even though she doesn't sing a whole lot, but it does feature Amy Mann, who does kind of a little bit of backing vocals on it. Whenever she comes in, I'm always like it immediately catches my attention.
Stand still. I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now. Stand still.
So, again, not everyone's favorite Rush album. I know, I get it, but I still have some enjoyment from this one. With that being said, now we move on to my least favorite Rush album, and that of course is Presto. Now we're kind of at a point where there's songs on here that the reason why they're my favorites is because they're the most memorable. We're gonna get to a lot more albums where really there's not a whole lot to say about them, but with this album I went with Scars. I like the bass work on it, pretty funky, sounds pretty cool. So yeah, and then my honorable mention, I went with Available Light. Yeah, Available Light. I wrote a note in here. Let me see what I said. It's a nice slow song, which is kind of good contrast to the rest of the album, because this album and some other albums I'm going to mention, a lot of the songs sound very similar. Like there's not much for me differentiating them, and so when you have a slower song, that's kind of that probably brings my attention back. And you know, Gay's voice sound pretty good on that song. So yeah, not much to say. Just it's fine. Roll Your Bones coming up. Favorite song here, I went with Ghost of a Chance. And I said, what did I say? I just said it was catchy. Yeah, that's probably it. Probably the catchy song on there. And then Bravado, which is my honorable mention. It's also on the same vein. Again, not much to say, but they just sound fine. They're fine. And now there's a helicopter overhead. Hopefully it's not too noticeable. But now we get to Counterparts. So we're in 1993. I went with Stick It Out as my favorite song, which is a very good rocker. Again, the guitar work on that song, it's on this album in general, is just very heavy. Like this is their comeback to the more hard rock edge, and you can definitely hear it. Like Alex is really coming back to the forefront. So yeah, great song. And my honorable mention, I went with Nobody's Hero. Again, the lyrics are really, I really like the lyrics to it. Like he talks about all these people who are either dead or no longer there, but you know, there's nobody's hero. You know, I did a shitty job in explaining it, but you should probably go look it up. It's a very, very cool story. So yeah, those are my two songs here. Great song, great stuff. I like it. Okay, we're almost done. Just a couple more to go. Test for Echo is up next. For my favorite song, I went with the title track. It's pretty good. I like it. And for my honorable mention, I went with Resist. This is definitely one of those albums where, yeah, those are my favorite songs, but if I'm going to be honest, I'll probably forget how they sound if I don't listen to them later on. So, yep, that's all I got to say for Test for Echo. So now we get to Vapor Trails. Again, this is the remix version. My favorite song on here is Ghostwriter.
Keep
went through before they released this album. You can definitely feel loud emotion on that. So great song. And for my album mention, I went with the title track.
Stratospheric traces of a transitory flight.
Again, very strong songs here. Not really an album I'll go to very often, but it's pretty good. I like it. So now we're in 2007 with Snakes and Arrows. Again, another one of those albums where there's not much to say, but my favorite song is Far Cry. And my honorable mention is let me read it up here, The Main Monkey Business. This is my notes, by the way. Yeah, again, not much to say. I honestly can barely remember them, but I wrote them down, so I'm guessing those are my favorite songs on that one. So, yep, again, so it's fine. And then last but not least, we have their final album from 2012 with Clockwork Angels. A very strong conclusion to this catalog. For the most part, it's a very strong catalog. Like, there's really no bad albums. I think I said this in my ranking video, but there's really no terrible Rush album to me. I know some people disagree, but to me, there's not really an album where I'm like, oh, this just sucks. And this is no exception. This is a pretty good album. And my favorite song on here is going to be The Garden.
The measure of a life is a measure of love and respect.
Just a perfect closer, and just in general a great swan song to the band, whether they knew it or not. But yeah, absolutely love it. A gorgeous song. So really recommend you check it out. And for my album mention, I went with Halo Effect.
What did I see? Fool that I was. Oh, a goddess with wings on a heel.
So there you have it. Those are all my favorite songs from each Rush album. So in the comments below, let me know what is your favorite song on all these albums. If you want to give an honorable mention, please do so if you wish. But that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.